afternoon. It's been a while. Yes, it has. Notification. It is Therapy Thursday, we're going to call this. Specifically because this afternoon I head to the beach. That's why I'm in a bikini. My girlfriend and I get together every Thursday, and it's all about what's going on in your life. And the other day I said, let's call this Therapy Thursday. Because essentially, when we're going through things, we need people to reflect back. We need to be able to discuss what's going on with ourselves. Women, we need each other to be able to hold each other. When something dire is going through our lives, you know, I need to talk to somebody who can listen and be non-judgmental and not critical, not accusatory or really, nasty and letting you go. Because this is what's going on in the world right now, is everybody's going through something. And when you're going through something, you really need to be able to have a good support network. That's why I talk about putting the unity back in community, because it starts with us. If we're not open and able to hold others, how are we going to be able to be held by others? So we have to set the example first off. First, we have to be vulnerable. We have to be in our authentic truth. We have to be willing to be seen for who we are and what it is we bring to the world. Because we all have gifts. Each and every one of us. Not one person out there is not here to serve. Let me put that in another way. Each and every one of us is on this planet to serve one another in some way, shape, or capacity. And it could be so simple as, yes, it may be the blessing without the bow, where someone shows up to you and you're like going, I didn't need that today. Well, maybe you did, to remind you of your worth, your value. And so Therapy Thursday, as we're going to call it, is all about knowing that your girlfriend's got your back. Your guy friends, you got your back. It's sis stars and bro stars. It's all about coming together and supporting one another no matter where you're at. And not everybody can do that. It takes some serious, you got to know yourself. Because if you've got triggers, especially around certain people, you need to know when to walk away, when it is that it's not going to serve you. Maybe you're not healed through that, because whatever triggers you, that is yours to heal. Take that in for just a moment. Whenever you're charged or triggered or thrown off guard or whatever you want to call it, that one really pissed me off today. They did something. That is something for you to lean into and go, what is this telling me about myself? Because if whatever it is that triggered you is yours to heal, that's doing shadow work. That's doing the inner work. It's being willing to go, wow, this person, because relationship is about how we relate. We cannot experience ourselves by ourselves. We need one another so we can grow. You can do all the inner work you want on your own, by yourself, but you still got to apply it, because until you integrate that into the rest of your life and those around you, it doesn't turn into wisdom. You don't get the full blessing of the lesson until you take what you've gleaned for information, integrated into your life, and applied it to your living. All sorts of people out there, oh yeah, I get it, I know. Yeah, intellectually. But have you applied it? Hey, I'm still working on it. Some days I'm like, oh, I know better. Well, once you know better, you're in awareness. That's your opportunity and your moral obligation to do better. So let's do better. Everybody who remembers Romper Room. Be a good doobie. Be a good human. And it starts with being good to yourself. Now, the inner dialogue is the hardest part, right? We got to combat this whole I'm better or I'm not better or I'm worthy or I'm not worthy or whatever it is that your inner dialogue is. Because whatever's going on up in here is reflecting all around you. If you've got negative self-talk and you're beating yourself up and you're trying to figure out why that one's treating you that way, you got to take a full range, be in your awareness, become the witness of your thoughts and what's going on around you. Because without taking the moment and being present, that's the gift, how can you grow? How can you evolve? If you're constantly just going through habitual routine, this and this and this and this and this is how my day goes, and you're not taking stock, becoming the witness, slowing yourself down enough to say, wow, I see how that applies to my life. Oh my gosh. Sometimes you get a passage in a book, we call it a hook, and when you open up randomly, or you see numbers as a sign. A lot of us have different ways of hearing the universe or recognizing the universe is trying to speak to us. A bird could sing up, come up and sing to you. You could see dragonflies, which is how my mother shows up, and butterflies. You know what it takes to get your attention. And those are those moments that when you see a sign, whatever it is for you, it means something. And to stop and go, what does that mean for me today? Because it's trying to get your attention. The universe speaks, it's also your soul. It's another way to say your soul reflects outwardly and the universe brings it in. There's so many different ways that we can become present and in our awareness to expand our consciousness. But the question is, how willing are you to be present with you, to take stock and notice everything that you're doing on the inside that's reflecting on the outside? So Therapy Thursday is all about, let's get together, let's have conversations. Don't worry about what other people think. It's none of their business. I mean, sometimes we just need someone who can deeply listen, can be present fully, isn't thinking about what's the next thing I want to say. Because if they're doing that, they're not present enough to listen to what you have to say, and vice versa. Have you ever been on the phone with somebody and they're telling you something and you're like, wait a minute, what was that? Because your mind drifted off to something else. You weren't fully present. And it's humbling when you find, oh my gosh, I am always waiting to respond instead of trying to listen, to understand. So to understand is condescending because you're underneath somebody, and I've been listening to some speak about this because I'm a wordsmith over here. But to understand, do you really integrate? Do you get the meaning? What does it mean for you? How does it apply? And then when you overstand, then you have applied it in such a way it has become wisdom. I like little whiz bits. So that is where I'm coming from today and what just poured out. And it's really, every day can be a therapy. Every day is a day for reflection. But I just thought Thursday is going to become Therapy Thursday, because that's what we women need, is we need to designate, make an appointment. It's important. You matter. You are enough. You deserve it. Don't worry about how much is this going to cost or how much is that going to cost. Always allocate time, because that's priceless, for you. Whatever it is you need to do for you. That's called self-nurturing, self-care, self-love, whatever you want to call it. I like nurturing because, we have to be reminded that our inner child needs our attention still too. And that inner child is constantly trying to get our attention, like mommy, pulling at the skirt. Because maybe we didn't get our needs met when we were younger, and now we're kind of going through the motions of still being triggered, not realizing those are unresolved and unmet needs from past traumas and experiences that are so present with us still today. That each time you get triggered, you're actually being triggered by each and every one of your traumas throughout the entire cycle of your life. So when you get upset and you get angry, you have just now taken in everything that you've ever been angry about. So if you're one of those people who holds things in, and you are volatile, because when you hold something in, you're going to either implode or you're going to explode. And you're one of the people that needs to be meditating the most. You are one of the people that needs to also be able to speak and have people support you and hold you in your divineness, your sacredness, your sanctity, because we all need our own sanity. We have to tap into our intuition and recognize this life is a gift to us. And what I've been sitting with lately is, I'm sorry, but I cannot comply with how enslaved we've become these days. We have become even more enslaved as people to a system that doesn't support nor does it promote us living in joy. It's all about rules and control. At a certain point, you have to wake up and go, wait a minute here. Last I checked, when I go to the bathroom, nobody's there with me. I don't have to worry about someone getting on my ass, literally. And I know it's stressful and it's bringing up all sorts of things for each and every one of us. For me, I don't like controlling people, trying to put a thumb on me and tell me what I need to do when they don't have any impact on my life other than what they're trying to get me to do. That to me is absurd. It's absurd. I'm not going to go walking into someone else's home and tell them how they have to live their life. I don't expect that in return. And last I remembered, this is supposed to be the land of the free, which means as long as you're not doing harm to somebody else, and I mean deliberate, conscious harm because you are still in that trauma, and you're all about making other people feel bad because misery loves company, that's a totally different animal. I'm talking about the people that came to this land. Our ancestors were trying to get away from oppression, trying to get away from control. That is why people move, they relocate to find more freedom in their lives. But do you know the biggest freedom that most of us aren't even tapping into? Free your mind. Free your mind, let it be kind. Let your mind really wrap itself around the idea that you are a sovereign being. And even with a name or without a name, you are worthy and you are sacred. You are a soul in a human body, and your human deserves more respect than it has been given by yourself and others. I'm going to prepare myself now, what I call my version of comfort food. I ran out of the honey. See, this is my favorite bread, and some of you have been watching me long enough. So I'm going to share my little special recipe. When I get a craving, this is one of the two breads I would try. But Little Northern Bakehouse is my favorite. All I have right now is the cinnamon raisin and the nuts and seeds. So I wanted the cinnamon raisin. As a child, my comfort food was peanut butter and jelly. So I'm going to make almond butter and jelly, or jam, and share my favorite brands with all of you all. Now, I, as a child, preferred the soft bread. As I've gotten older, somehow I have this thing for crunchy, so we're going to toast them first. Raisin bread. See the beautiful raisins on that bread. What are you eating today? Tell me in the comments, what are your comfort foods? What do you reach for? And what are you having for lunch today? Because this is my first meal of the day. And the other thing that I'm going to have is a nectarine. Because truly, when you break a fast, you should be breaking a fast with fruit. And the reason I say that is because your body needs easily digestible foods. What does that mean? It means monomeals. It means things that your body can immediately use as fuel. So sugar is a form of energy, but this is not processed sugar. So a lot of people will say, well, I can't have fruits because it's too high in sugar, but then they'll reach for something that's carbohydrate, that's a processed sugar like wheats and grains and flours and such, and those are actually worse for you. Those are the things that cause problems with people who are diabetic. And it gives you a spike in your insulin more so than any fruit would ever. But see, the food pyramid has confused the heck out of us as Americans, and what we've been told is the standard American diet, which we call SAD, is the upside down pyramid of what's real and what you should be doing. So for me, Stacy, the way that I love overnight oats too, Laura. I do the same thing. I was thinking about making some chia seed pudding too last night. How I fast, I essentially, I don't want this too toasted because I want it just crispy. For me, I try to eat no later by 8:30 because sometimes when I'm walking buddy, I get taken away with time. I lose my hours. But essentially, I like to fast until at least usually 1 o'clock in the afternoon, sometimes later, sometimes noon. But I don't usually eat a breakfast in the morning. I love nectarines. So look how nice and juicy that is. So this is my first breaking fast. I also sometimes will have a little kombucha, but essentially a fast is strictly water. It's not normally, you know, I take my magnesium and my E3 Live MSM Renew Body supplements, but a true fast, you don't take anything. It's straight water. Now, intermittent fasting, you can kind of change it up. Some people do coffee and things like that. I don't like to do coffee in the morning. Okay. I'm going to let that cool off for just a second while I eat this. Is anyone out there in Louisiana or Texas? Know anybody? Let me know in the comments how they're doing, because I know that 2 storms in a row. And it sounds pretty scary to me, but I can't put my attention on it. I'm just imagining that it dissipates and it disappears, because I think we've had enough natural disasters and craziness in 2020. We all need a break. So instead of imagining the worst case scenario, I imagine the best case scenario. Because most of our culture perpetuates doom and gloom. It's all about telling you, oh, you got to prepare for the worst. What happened to let's prepare for the best? As kids, we immediately go for the best, and we question why we're constantly being told, well, you better be okay, you better be careful, you might hurt yourself. If you're always worried about hurting yourself, what do you think is going to happen? You're going to hurt yourself. Hence why we have so many problems with trust as adults. Because when you're taught as a child that you can't trust yourself, then you don't know how to trust other people. So delicious. So juicy. So the past few days, although I've wanted to go live, and you know I'm going to pop around different places, but I've been wanting to share with you so many different things, but I've been slightly exhausted, right? And I tell you what, going out in public feels like I'm in the twilight zone anyway. You're not allowed to breathe the air that is around you, but the wind blows, and I don't know, I just find it all absurd. So I've been making coconut yogurt. I've been making celery chips, kombucha. I made some applesauce crisps. I'm getting my kitchen mojo back. I've been using the dehydrator again. I had my girlfriend over the other day, and she and I decided we have got to start doing a food product, because she and I had tried the HU crisps. They have these crackers by HU who make the chocolates. If you've had those, let me know. And she tried these, and she said she liked these better than the Hue. And they're nice and crunchy, made with a bunch of spices and everything. Let me know what you're having for lunch today. Are you eating fruit? So yeah, I'm thinking I'm going to come out with a line of food with my girlfriend. You've all seen Dee and I on lives before, and I think it's time, because it's something I can provide locally. It'd be fun. Next, it'll be about the branding, the marketing, labels, and all that stuff, getting into local stores. But One thing at a time, people. Success doesn't happen overnight. And if you're a perfectionist, you will never make progress. If you're caught up in your perfectionism, you will never move forward. How do I know? Because I'm a recovering perfectionist. And I've been in relationships where I was told if it wasn't perfect, you couldn't do it or you shouldn't do it because you're going to fail. Don't believe them. Don't believe anybody who doesn't see your vision, people. I'm going to tell you right now, if you have a vision and you find people who support it and can see it, keep them close. The people who are naysayers or negative Nancy's or whatever the heck you want to call them, those are the people that can't see past themselves because they're so caught up in their own stuff, they can't see supporting someone else because they themselves are in their own perfectionism. So we have this beautiful raisin toast. Yum. I know, sometimes I just take the almond butter and the raisin toast by itself. So these are the brands that I'm using. I'll move all this stuff so you can see a little bit better. And I'll pull this way. I've been rearranging and doing some serious tuning up and cleaning up around the house. My girlfriend gave me this juicer, which is where all the pulp came from that I created the crackers with. All right. This is one of my favorite almond butters. I prefer the sprouted almond butter, but this is reasonable. It is Blue Mountain Organics, European truly smooth raw almond butter. All right, and then I went to Whole Foods, and these were on sale. And I really like these jams, this fruit spread. I'm probably going to mix them because I like them both. One is royal fig and one is strawberry. Saint Dalfour. All right, and apparently, I think this is French. Yes, it's coming from France. The ingredients in here are really, really like healthy good because there's no like additives or preservatives. This one's figs and sweetened only with fruit juice concentrate. So grapes, dates, and pineapples are the sweeteners. And then lemon juice and fruit pectin. This one, strawberries, sweetened only with the fruit juices again. And the fruit pectin and lemon juice. So both of these. Just a few ingredients. We're not talking cane sugar, which a lot of times, if any of you out there have made jams at home, you know that that's what they use. They use the cane sugar or the white sugar, which is so bad for you. Oh, if the more you can get away from processed sugars, you know, I don't even care if it's cane or turbinado, it's still processed sugar. If you want to use a sweetener, I love to use dates. When I make, and I do like maple syrup because there are nutrients in it. Along with honey, the same thing. But the best thing to do is to use fruit because that is going to be your best sweetener. I make my coconut yogurt predominantly with dates for the sweetening. Sometimes I put a dash just for the flavor as well, the maple syrup, like when I make the chocolate coconut yogurt. Yesterday I used a little bit of this almond butter in my coconut yogurt. So, probably less than a teaspoon on this. I'm telling you, sometimes it's just a simple pleasure of like I said, peanut butter, almond butter, whatever jelly, you know? It's the little things in life that sometimes can bring you around to appreciation and gratitude. When I was a kid, I used to eat these all the time. When I was in the Air Force and wasn't making a lot of money, this was my comfort staple food. Now, mind you, I'm allergic to gluten, and all those years I was eating wheat bread, thinking that I was okay because I was just under this impression that, well, if it's whole grain, it's good for you. Well, the problem is we've got so many pesticides, so many chemicals that they put on the fields that it's getting into the food. And what do you think's causing a lot of the disease in people? Glyphosate, Roundup. If you use that stuff, get rid of it, please. Please. Oh my gosh, I'm such a fan. I'm telling you, when I found almond butter, I was like, this is so much sweeter naturally. Peanut butter has to have stuff added to it. And peanuts are a legume, which they have a high mold rate. Like if you buy almond butter, they put all sorts of stuff in it to, keep it from separating. And a lot of the big brands use extra oils in it. It's not healthy for you. Just say that. All right. So we're going to do fig and strawberry. Two of my favorites. And this is so good. I have to tell you that I was the other day kind of like standing here just eating it out of the jar. And I'm not a big sweet person. So there we go. We're going to mix fig and strawberry. And voila! We put the two sides together. Make sure they match too, by the way. I apparently got lucky. And there we have it. It's going to be messy. I'm already going to tell you that. Do you like them cut in half or in triangles? Let's see. What am I in the mood for? I want to do triangles, but it's going to be easier to go down the center, so. It's getting all over my fingers. Right? It's a simple things in life. You have a nectarine, you make yourself an almond butter and jam sandwich, and there you go. Happy, healthy, comfort food, gluten-free, because this is little northern bakehouse. And there we go. And let's take a bite and see that. Yum. If you're like me, it comes out on your fingers, and you end up licking the corners around the sides. So, sharing is caring. If you know anybody who could really benefit from this video, spread the love. You know what to do. I'm not going to make it all about me anyway. It's never about me. I will show up whenever I can because I love all of you. I appreciate all of the followers that still follow me. I appreciate each and every one of you who have stuck around since the beginning. I apologize if at any point you ever experienced rejection, abandonment, or anything that really hurt your feelings. I never did anything intentionally from my part. And I apologize for my partner because not everybody, my ex-partner I should say, not everybody's healthy. And you have to remember, hurt people, healthy people lift others up and try to help others see their light and help them through their healing process. We do the best we can with what we have in the moments. Be forgiving with yourself, be forgiving with others. Know that not everybody is around for a permanent place in your life. Some people come in for a season, some others, they go out with the tide, Everything in life is about being flexible, fluid, and willing to see that change is going to happen whether you like it or not. What we're going through in the world right now is all about us embracing our gift to be changeable, to go with the changes of the times, to find new ways of handling, to deal with life, to trust in our own ability to get through. We've gotten this far in our life. Remember to give yourself credit where credit is due. You are doing the best you can do for you, and look around you because you've got so much going right. You just might need to flip your own switch out of the what's going wrong. So the more you can focus on what's going right, you can work through what is going wrong or what you feel isn't going the way you want it to. Life is all about adjusting. Okay, we're a little off course right now. I need to make an adjustment to get back on course. And sometimes things like what's going on right now was really about you doing the inner work, you doing the shadow work, you confronting what you consider your demons, who really are just those hidden aspects of yourself that you're afraid that others wouldn't like you because you don't like that part of you. But when you embrace that and stop abandoning, rejecting it, and pushing it away, you're going to find that it needs your love just as much as your light and all the beauty about you. Everything about you is what makes you whole. You can't reject a piece because that in itself is a rejection of the all. So in order to be whole, you have to accept your all. Always come back to that. I love each and every one of you. Again, if you are in the Clearwater area and you have skills, you have gifts, I need help. I need actual renovation work done. And I'm going to start a fundraiser, so keep your eyes peeled. If you have even the smallest amount that you can share and support me, I would greatly appreciate that. I love each and every one of you. Stay real. And remember, it's your authenticity and your vulnerability and willingness to show up. That's what gets you through life. I love you.